Hi and welcome to Grace Personified. I'm Azila Edward. Thank you so much for being here. Today we don't have a topic, but what I want to share with you is a testimony of God's goodness, His grace and His mercy in my life. I was an athlete in school and I am a dancer. Back in November 2017, I decided to participate in one of the races on sports day. So I joined the athletics team and I started practicing. But just 1 week before the race, my knee started hurting. So I visited the doctor and the doctor asked me to get an x-ray. I got an x-ray done. The doctor looked at the x-ray and he said, forget about dancing or running. It's going to be difficult for you to walk. And from that day on, I started limping. And one day while limping back to class, one of the boys in my class came to me and he said, don't you feel like a warrior who's already been defeated even before the war has begun? And he just left. And that is exactly how I felt. And from that day on, from my prayer being, God, I know you can heal me, you are a healer, it turned into, did I do something wrong? Is this some kind of a curse? Did I sin against you? What is it, God? And I started distancing myself from God. And then this went on for 4 months. My disability turned into my habit. In April 2018, my church conducted a youth camp and I attended the youth camp. And 4 pastors came. It was a 3-day camp. And throughout the 3 days, they would walk around the hall and God would say, pray for this person, and they would stop and pray. But nobody came to me. And I was expecting from God, I was expecting so much from Him. And nothing happened for 2 days. And I was looking at Him and I was saying, please God, I need you the most. Can you please come? And on the 3rd day, the pastors said to us that everybody will be prayed over. And so I was like, yeah. And then they said, whoever is left, please come forward. And I, with a bunch of 6 people, went forward and I stood there. And the first sentence that the pastor says out of her mouth is, I think God was waiting for the leaders to come in the end. And in that instant, everything that I had believed in the last 4 months had completely disappeared. And I looked at God and I said, I'm sorry, Lord, for focusing on my storm rather than fixing my eyes on you. And then they started praying over me and they prophesied over me. And that prophecy was so intense that in that moment I decided, even if I'm 30 years old and I'm on a wheelchair, I don't care. I know I will be following Jesus and I will be in complete alignment with Him. And so I decided to walk back to my seat. And while I was going back, they said, wait, God's not done with you yet. And I looked at them and I said, what do you mean God's not done with me yet? And they said to me, God wants to heal you. And I looked at God and I said, you want to heal me, God? I'm the same girl who completely distanced myself from you. I'm the same person who made you as small as my situation, as small as my pain, as small as my problem. You want to heal me, God? And He said, yes. And I fell to the ground and I felt like something had just, had tied me up, and something started to untie itself and my body started to feel free. And I sat up and a pastor came to me and she said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what was your pain and what is it now? I said it was 10 and now it's 8. And she prayed again over me. And she said, now? I said it's 2. And then she prayed again. And she said, now? I said it's 0.5. And I know at this point you're like, come on, bro. I'm like, if God said He's going to heal me, there is not going to be even a little bit left behind. Everything is going to be gone. And so she prayed again. And I said, I don't feel any pain. She said, are you sure? I said, yes. She said, okay, it's dinner time. Come back after dinner. And then tell me if you feel any pain. I said, okay. And I turned and I started walking. I started limping. And that is when I realized that my disability had become my habit. And I snapped myself out of it and I said, no, your disability can never become your habit. And I started walking normally. And I had dinner and I came back. And I looked at her and I said, I don't feel any pain. She handed me a baton in my hand with a mic. And she said, Tell everybody what the Lord has done for you today. I turn around and I see an entire queue of all of them who attended the camp with me, standing behind me. And I looked at them and I said, I don't want to tell you what the Lord has done for me. I want to show you what the Lord has done for me. And I held that baton in my hand and I ran across that hall. Every single person in that queue was praising God and were witnesses to what had happened that day. I was so blessed in that moment. That was the best race I ran. And in that moment, my life had transformed and changed. And I remember going back. In the time that I least expected it, God showed up. In the time that I thought that everything was over, God said, no, Azealia, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I know everything. I'm invincible. And I can change anything for you. And if God could do that for me, imagine what He can do for you. And always remember, Isaiah 54 verse 17 says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Nothing can come against you because you have a God who is invincible. He is the first and the last. His big plan, there is no plan B. His plan is the perfect plan. And He has everything under control. And so in this moment, whatever your situation is, whatever your problem is, I want to say to you, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 14 says, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. So whatever is ahead of you, whatever you're looking at right now, whichever season you are in, just look at yourself and say, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.